Our conversation this morning is on real estate. Now we're doing the business of real estate and investment choices. And before we came on, we were talking about interesting facts of real estate. Now we want to know the rudiments of actually getting a house in Nigeria and probably around the world. We have our guest here with us in the studio. He is beautifully seated with us. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
We have Funke Alao here with us this morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
you look
you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And I must say, Funke Alao is an early one. Like, you know, those guests that actually come in extremely early because they do not want to be late. And I'm guessing that has to do with the business that you do.
Of course, it's part of it. You don't want to be late for a viewing. Clients will feel like you're not serious.
I think
so there's a huge time factor, obviously, within the your industry.
Very much, especially because we're in Lagos. You know, there's traffic and you have like maybe 4 viewings or 3 in a day. You have to be at the first one early, so yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about viewing. So how does it work really? Because in my mind, when you're saying viewings, I'm picturing an American movie where you see a realtor, you would call them up, they would take you to a home that is probably already set up or empty, probably somebody has stayed there for a while, and then you go from one place to another and everything. Is that how it works?
Pretty much, yes, but because we're in Nigeria, things are different. So you don't really have most homes fully set up here because a lot of realtors cannot invest in renting furniture or to make a house look nice. So what you have most times is empty houses, sometimes dirty houses, because, you know, maybe you have like a lot of properties that you've listed and you as a realtor, you can't go to each apartment or send cleaners to clean and all that. So it's not always that glamorous.
Wow. So, like, what is the, you know, within as a real estate, as a realtor professional, what is the real estate industry like in Nigeria? Is it booming? Is it an industry on the rise? Or I know, you know, real estate is an industry that has stood the test of time and will continue to stand the test of time. But, you know, given the, you know, economic challenges that the COVID-19 brought and all of this, has that affected buying in any way?
Okay, so I think you first asked about how the industry is in Nigeria. I'll say it's very competitive. And now the funny thing is, if you go on your Instagram, Facebook, you find like 1,000 realtors on your timeline. Like the competition is now stiff, and then you have a lot of people that are not even qualified to do to do real estate. You just maybe go out, you see posters for sale, you go copy numbers, that makes you a realtor. No. Like, so that's one thing that I think causes a lot of problems in the market. Then COVID-19, nobody saw it coming. It changed a lot of things. First, it reduced the buying power of people. A lot of people lost their jobs. So, like, for instance, I had a client who was into oil and gas and used to go offshore and all those things. Some of them couldn't go anywhere. So their earnings kind of, like, reduced. So they can't even buy property. And then when it comes to viewings and going out, for us, like, we had to just sit home. And then technology came into focus. So we had to start doing virtual inspections, doing a lot of things virtually instead of being there in person. Yeah, so it changed a lot in real estate.
Let's hear about virtual
inspection. Yeah, how does it work?
Right? Okay, so you can actually show people houses from your home instead of stepping out. You have to maybe pre-record them and show the client, or like you guys should have like a video call. And then you are the apartment, they are not, because 2 people can't be at the same place. Like most of your clients are even at home. Even you as a realtor, sometimes you can't even go out. So it's more like you just showing them the video of the property without them being there. So they can do like a 360 tour in the apartment, outside the apartment.
Okay, so when people say invest in real estate, because I hear it a lot. Like, okay, so there's money in real estate. You should do this in real estate. Like, you should buy a house or something like that. What does it really mean in the layman's language? Does it mean that you have to buy a land, you have to buy a house, you have to build something? What does it mean?
Okay, no, so there are actually different entry points when it comes to investing in real estate. It's not every time that you buy a house to invest in real estate.
Okay.
But then you need money to invest in real estate, although capital might differ. You might have a lot of millions and you might just have a few hundreds of thousands to invest. You can actually buy shares in a real estate company as opposed to just buying a house. You can also co-own properties. So let's say 3 of us have 10 million naira each, or even 5 each. We can buy a property together and then split the rental income, or hold it for a while, sell off, split the profit accordingly. So it's not every time that you actually have to buy a house, but then it's better to buy a house.
Okay.
Why is it better?
Yeah, because you make more profit right? And then ownership is king in real estate. Like, there's nothing as good as owning property, either land, houses, what have you. It's good to own, because then when you have capital appreciation, maybe the house is selling for higher. It's your own profit, it's yours. You can't make as much profit in real estate if you don't own
the property. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were telling me before we started the show that your niche is on shortlets and actually setting up homes and all that. Let's talk about that. How does it work?
Okay, quite interesting. Like, my clients are so lucky, by the way, because we make them a lot of money in shortlets, because Lagos is like the commercial, or people are coming into Lagos every day. Some of them don't have houses in Lagos. Some people even live in Lagos, but you don't want to go through the stress of renting an apartment and furnishing, because furnishing sometimes is much more expensive than the rent itself. You know, you can rent a house for 2 million, and then the furnishing is going to 4 or even 3. It's more than the rent. But then we give you a furnished apartment. All you need to do is just bring your clothes in. You know, it's just really, it's a no-brainer. Most people, most professionals even like it. They just want us to give them short-let apartments. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, you just mentioned something very interesting. Obviously, Lagos is a very commercial hub in Nigeria, in Africa. So I'm guessing some of your customers are coming out of the country, most of the time, or maybe out of Lagos. So you settle them in.
Exactly.
Into, how is that process for them?
Okay, so we have different packages. Minimum for most of my apartments are 2 nights. So anything less than 2 nights we don't take, because it doesn't really make sense. So we do 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, a quarter, depending. And let me even share a story with you guys. Excuse me, just
Please
before.
have some water, really.
I think it's cold, not water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I was saying, so I just handed over an apartment just before the lockdown, thinking, oh, maybe we'll just rent it out 2 weeks, 1 week. Then a client took it. You know, the person was held up in Nigeria, and she had to stay for the period of the lockdown.
Wow.
It's not a good story, but we cashed out because she wasn't planning to be in Nigeria. We had an apartment for her to stay. And then she had to stay there for 3 months. And per month, she paid 700,000 naira for a 1-bedroom apartment on the island. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's good business.
Imagine somebody actually owns a property and then you are helping them short-let it out to customers and all of that. And then, you know, by the time this person has stayed for about 3, I think the lockdown was about 2-3 months. And then like you've made this person money. So let's talk on commission. So I hear that...
That's my favorite word.
Yeah. I hear that a realtor's favorite word, like you just said, is commission. But how does it work? Because I read you would, and I would need you to correct me.
Okay.
Are realtors different from agents?
Potato. Anyway, but truth is, it's quite different. I think agents are not as informed as realtors. I call myself a realtor. If you call me an agent, I may get angry, because then, my background is in law. I'm actually a lawyer, but I do real estate. So agents sometimes don't do their groundwork. They just really want to sell. Realtors, we advise the clients. So you are my priority as my client, not really the commission. It's good to make money, of course, but you have to do the work. You can't sell something bad to your client. So realtors do more groundwork, and they are more committed to the clients as opposed to being committed to the commission. So yeah, there's a long line.
Okay, so now back to the commission conversation. So how does it work? Is there a standard fee? Is there a standard price? So what do I look out for when somebody is trying to swindle me? Because, I mean, you would hear something like, oh, the agent takes 20%, or the realtor takes 50%, or something like, you will hear ridiculous
Can I be that
things.
agent, though? 20% is a lot of money.
You get ridiculous things in Lagos. So is there a standard price? Is there other things that you need to do? And then what is the major money that what's the percentage that a realtor or an agent should get?
Okay, so standard for sales of property, especially houses, is 5%.
Wow.
But we always negotiate. Some clients will tell you, I don't have more than 1 million to give you on this sale. Some will tell you, I don't have more than 2. But based on the price of the property, then you can negotiate, or maybe the purchasing power of your client. But some companies also, maybe they have 10%, some do 13%, but majorly for land. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get that. Okay. It's looking like a good business.
It's really like a good line of business. All right, so, you know, you're talking about virtual inspections, and, you know, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, when Nigerians' attitude towards anything that is digital or virtual is a bit tricky, especially buying houses in Lagos State.
Yeah.
So we took a particular conversation on Tea or Coffee, and we're looking at people's experiences in buying houses or or renting spaces. How the realtor or the agents would promise them something, but you'll get something completely different. So when you're doing virtual inspections, how do you deal with that trust, with the trust that you are able to give to your customer?
Okay, so I would say that integrity is key in this business because when it comes to real estate, you're talking 6 figures, at least. Some are lesser than 6 figures. So I feel like anything I spend more than $1 million on, I need to do a lot of research. So the onus is actually on the client. Before you pay for something, you need to do your due diligence. And then, okay, this brings me to another story. A client actually contacted me one time to do due diligence for them on a property. And the first question I asked was, okay, what's the status of the transaction? They said, but they've already paid.
Wow.
So then it's no longer due diligence because you already paid and you're asking me to help you conduct due diligence. That's faulty. So I feel like clients themselves should do their research. And then for me as a realtor, there's a conflict of interest if you ask me to do due diligence on something that I'm selling to you. I would tell you if it's bad. I won't even sell a bad property, but then you should not ask your realtor to run your due diligence. That's why you need a lawyer. So it's very important to use professionals for any transaction whatsoever. Like if you have a headache, go to the hospital. A friend of mine, anything like simple headache, hospital. You need to do something, you don't just try to do everything by yourself. That's when you run into trouble. So I feel like for your question, the client also has to do their own research before paying for any property.
Yeah, but then, with the virtual inspection, they can't really do that, can they?
Okay, so due diligence is in 2 aspects. As opposed to doing the physical inspection of the property, that is checking it out, then you need to do the legal end also. Like running your check on the title of the property, and also like knowing that there's no encumbrances on the property, nobody has a lawsuit on the property, no family curse, and all those funny things, Yeah.
Family curse?
Trust me, there's some haunted houses.
What?
They'll tell you the last person that bought this house died after 5 months. This person, so you need to do, as a realtor, you have to be local. Like, you need to understand. Trust me, yeah.
People say that?
Yeah, it happens, not that they say it.
Oh my goodness.
There's some houses that have been on the market for years, like nobody can just sell them. So you stay away.
Okay, let's talk about those kind of houses.
Yeah.
Houses that you find very difficult to sell, houses that are in neighborhoods that are giving you headache, or houses that, people have died or something like that. How do you sell them? How do you move it in the market?
Strategy, basically. When I show people houses, I do my research on the client. I want to know what you're looking out for. I want to know what you prefer. What's your story? What do you like? Are you a single lady who just wants more closet space when you're buying a house? Are you a married man who wants to buy something friendly for children, close to a school or something? So you need to do your research on the client. And sometimes some properties can't be sold as they are, so you probably need to modify them or tell the client how they can modify them. In that way, it's easier to sell.
Ah,
yeah.
Interesting. So, so you have actually sold a haunted house?
No. I wouldn't say that on TV.
Okay. Okay, don't worry, I'll ask you after the show. I want to know.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
There's this popular saying that in Nigeria we find it very difficult, as I'm talking about single ladies, find it very difficult to get homes. How true is this?
Well, okay, so let me tell you the truth. Ladies find it more difficult to rent houses than to buy houses. In Nigeria, really, what really counts is cash. Do you have the money? I've sold houses to single women, and there's no problem with that. There's nothing in the legal system that precludes a woman from owning real estate. So it's all about the money in Nigeria. If you have the money, you buy the property.
But how come rentals are harder for single women?
It's harder because most landlords, in quotes, are men, one, and they feel like every single woman is probably, a loose woman, and they don't want troubles with people having so many male guests. So they want you to they want to know whether you do a salary-paying job.
Okay.
One time, a client told me that the landlord asked her, does she work in a bank? That if she doesn't work in a bank, they can't give her the house.
Why?
Or is she from the East? So most times, the issue with rental...
From the East?
Yeah. some landlords are very biased. You hear a lot of things. They say they don't want to have fair ladies in their houses. Some say, yeah. Haven't you guys heard the stories?
I mean, yeah, but honestly, sometimes I would think it is ridiculous hearing some of these little things that we see in the news.
Yeah.
I know that it's a bit difficult to get a house as a female, but then, the factors underneath the reasons, they probably wouldn't tell you. Just be like, oh, we don't want. If you're not married, just don't come.
Exactly.
Fair lady. Wow.
So it's a gender
crazy.
thing, really, or a tribal and traditional thing?
It's a mix of both, but gender at the top.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. This is
So,
very
I mean, because, we'll hear stories like, okay, so this woman had to fake
Yes.
marry somebody just to get the house. And then
Yeah.
when they ask, oh, where's your husband? He traveled or
Yeah.
something like that.
Some will even fake the husband. Like there's some guys who will tell you, oh, if you have an issue renting a house, just tell them you have a husband. If I need to come, I'll come. Like it's not really that easy. Especially on the island, it's not really easy, because we have a lot of ladies that take houses so that men can be, coming to them there and everything. So
Interesting.
that's why.
So, I mean, it's easier to actually buy a house as a single woman than
Yeah.
actually renting one.
Way easier.
Okay, you've heard though. In Nigeria, just buy a house.
Yeah.
You save yourself all of the stress.
So for those who are trying to get into real estate investment, so for those who are trying to get into your industry, what do they need to do? Are there certificates maybe that they need to earn? Like, how were you able to make, for instance, your switch from a lawyer to a realtor? What do people watching Tea Your Coffee this morning need to do to get into your line of business?
Okay, so for me, it wasn't really a switch because it started as a family business. Like I watched my parents build an empire in real estate, so I wouldn't say that I had to start learning the ropes per se. Like it was more like a natural thing for me. But I would say the first thing that there are two angles to this question. Either come in as an investor or as a realtor. Both ways, you need to be clear of your vision, right? Like, what exactly are you going towards? You want to sell more of rental properties or residential? You need to do your research, like, to be equipped with enough wisdom, because it's not really easy. Like, sometimes you go a long time, no sale. So the first thing is to work on yourself, as opposed to even having money to start with. Your own first investment, not just real estate. So I would say, get the needed knowledge. There's really no school per se that you have to go to, but you have to school yourself and you have to try and try. Like, don't give up, keep trying. Then also have mentors. I had mentors. My parents mentored me, and I also had mentors in the industry. So mentorship can be overemphasized in any industry, especially in real estate. Yeah.
Okay. So before we let you go, let's talk about the essence of a legal practitioner, the reason why you should get a lawyer. Because I mean, when somebody wants to buy a house, they'll just feel like, well, I already have a realtor, I don't think I need a lawyer. Or when they want to rent a property, oh, don't worry, I have my agent, I trust him and everything. I don't need a lawyer and all of that. So why do I need a lawyer when I am getting into, there are two questions in this. Why do I need a lawyer when I'm getting into real estate investment, or I'm trying to buy a house?
Okay. I think the easiest way to answer this question is just think of losing all your money. Yeah, when you think of losing all your money and not having anything to show for it, or any evidence whatsoever, you actually have to hire a lawyer, because you can be sold a lie. You can actually see the house, like the house will be so beautiful, you go for inspections, but the title can be so defective that when you now want to start perfecting everything, you realize that you bought a lie, that there's no house, like on paper. Because if you buy a house, you need to have your documents. So what if you buy something that is owned by somebody else or be sold to like 5 different people? So definitely you need a lawyer to represent you, to represent your interests, and to also carry out due diligence on every investment you want to make.
Okay, you said something about documents, because now, I mean, all these things that you said is just really an eye-opener for me. You talked about documents. So what are the documents that I need to have when I'm buying a house? Like, what do I need to see? How do I know this is original? How do I know this is legit? That's okay. So I am a household now. It's not like I bought something or I bought a lie, as you've put it. So what do I need to have?
Okay, so I think I will just make it really simple and brief. The first thing is you need to confirm the title of the property.
Okay.
Right? Is it a C of O or not? Is it a real title? Are they still working on it? You need to be sure. Then whenever you buy something, you need a deed, even if it's land. You need to have a deed of assignment that shows that you are now the owner of this property. And also based on geography in Lagos, you need a survey. right? It needs to be shown that your land is sitting on a particular mass or in a particular area that the government has allowed you to build on.
Okay.
Some houses don't even have building permits. So then you buy your house and then the government comes knocking. Oh yeah, where's the...
Whoa.
Yeah, it happens a lot. So you need to actually clear out all this before you pay for something. Yeah.
Wow. So imagine if you didn't have like a building permit or whatnot and you've bought all of these things, you could be asked to leave.
Well, you will just have to pay. Yeah, you have to just do the whole registration over again.
How about houses that they destroy? You know, I keep seeing stories in the news where, you know, somebody has already built a home and then all of a sudden you just see that they've marked the home for destruction.
Yes, that happens when you build on land that the government hasn't permitted you to build on. So you can actually, you might not be compensated.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of money
Yeah.
lost. That's a lot of money.
That's why you need to do your due diligence before you buy any property.
Okay. Before we, so that's
Sounds sad, right?
sad. I mean,
Happens a lot.
imagine the millions that you've talked about, you've invested in this property and everything, and then all of a sudden they destroy with no compensation
At all.
And it has happened to a lot of people because I mean, I've checked the internet for these kinds of conversations, and you hear people just sad and tired and cursing out people that have sold them the lands. And okay, so what then happens to the person that sold me the land that is marked for destruction?
Some of them might run away. Yeah, but then I think how to avoid this is don't just buy from your friends or your family members or be sending money from Canada to somebody in Nigeria. You need to like patronize professionals. Once again, like I said, talk to realtors, talk to people that do this business and have a record to show people that they've bought houses for, that people are actually living in them. Don't just be sentimental about your real estate investments. You can't be sentimental about something that costs you a lot. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap this up, because I had a lot to think about when it has to be buying house and actually renting homes in this part of the world. So advise people on what they should do when they're getting a home or when they want to invest, and then majorly, yeah.
Okay. So I would just say, be clear on what you want first. Like you need to know your investment strategy. What do you want to buy? How much money do you have? And be sincere with yourself. Don't go for something that you know you cannot actually afford or something you know you don't need. And then most times people just like to buy houses to live in them. That's not the best way to invest, really, because you can actually buy a house and use it as a rental property, make more money than your current rent. So some people just, in Nigeria, we're so flamboyant. So a lot of people buy big houses because they want to live in them. Now the value of those big houses are dropping. Rental properties are actually, you know, more viable. So I think it's important to have a strategy. That's my key go-to advice for every intending real estate investor. You need to have a strategy. Also do your research. Don't buy something that has a defect or that doesn't even exist legally. And then I'll just say, be smart and be wise.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of hungry people out there that sell houses. So you need to be careful.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
much.
Thanks for having
I had a
me.
very good time.
Thank you, me too.
All right. The conversation is on real estate investments. And in fact, if you are looking at buying a house, please don't buy a lie, because you might be swindled and you may lose a lot of your money. Get a legal practitioner that can advise you, and also get a professional that is a realtor that can tell you how and what to do when it has to do with your investments or you buying a house.